the meeting started. I think we'll end up with a quorum here later, but right now we don't have a quorum.
Just,
Okay. Oh, there it is over here.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I think we're ready to go. Agenda, let me get out of the way, so. Is anyone online or does it matter?
We do not have anyone online.
Okay, then I don't have to worry about the mic. First of all, we can do a roll call. We got Lou and Mike and myself. We have three. We have a member of the group now of six with Pete gone. But I think Lynn and Jim will be here. But we have nothing, I don't think we have anything really to vote on. So we really don't need a quorum. But that's. That's down there, yeah. Items to discuss. On what members to be discussed? Yeah, we will. Then you want to, okay, I got you. I didn't think we were going to make that. Is there any public comment? Ed, you want to make a public comment? And then
Yeah, Ed Hedges, I'm kind of GIS coordinator for all the subcommittees, on PPAC. But we've kind of held off on making a lot of updates to the GIS because we were running out of budget, but now we're in a new budget year. And, I think it all got the PPAC approved the contract. But I'm going, a lot of the, pond aeration, some of that wasn't kept up to date as they did the consolidation. So I've been working with Andy, to look through that and come up with a way we want to. Right now, we have a location, it's the compressor symbol and the GIS just denotes a location. But we have multiple. We come up with a way to actually number them, label them with a phone number and a sequence. Gone through and there's basically two configurations. One where a compressor feeds the trunk to the trunk line, the valves are performed by that. The other, the valves for the diffusers is in the compressor cabinet. And that covers basically all but three locations. There's three locations where the compressor may feed two trunk lines to a pond with two different ponds, or a single cabinet may do that. But you guys have three spare cabinets sitting around that are empty at different locations. So one of the things I posed to Doug was to basically move those cabinets around and reconfigure those. So you basically have two standard configurations. And then in the GIS, have attributes for the compressor cabinets, how many compressors are actually in the cabinet. And then each trunk, then colorize the trunk line to match the compressor cabinet along with the diffusers. So we have a pond that have served by multiple cabinets, you know, which diffusers are served from which. And basically creates a aeration system from the compressor cabinet to the diffuser. So it's easy to identify. And it gets some of this information, Andy, or whatever company, whatever you want. They have all that information. They know that. But it's, they have that, you know, and we're trying to get some of that information out of them and get it into the system. So that hopefully it will be easier once it gets older to CDD system and then to fix that system may be easily identified, but these diffusers are probably the 20 yeah.
In fact, I would say that it's not even Superior saying, and Andy knows where every box is, every power thing is. Andy not from Superior. He was involved in the initial installation of it all. Didn't work for Superior at that time, we worked for Solitude and we did all that. So if something happened to Andy, or we decided not to stay with Superior down the road, or if he quit and went to another company, that, all that knowledge is in his head. And Ed thinks that that's not a good solution and wants to get that into the system and simplify it. And I think that there's a lot of, merit for that, and it's for spending a little money to get done. Okay?
And you standardized all the, compressors to a half horsepower.
Well, I don't know if we went back and retrofitted them. We did going forward, but I don't know, there's still some stragglers. There's still a couple of stragglers out there. We got the compressors that we could replace. We got inventory for them.
Well, I just thought you did it when you reanalyzed health spacing of areas.
We did when we did the power consolidation. We did that, Bob, but every pond did not get consolidated. Some of the ponds did not need consolidated, so we didn't go back into those boxes and areas to do that. So when we did the consolidation, they were all done with a standard. Okay?
The other thing, folk around the different people, identify which of the drainage pipes are the actual pond air ties, so that we can distinguish them separately in GIS.
And the balancing,
So in fact, a lot of that probably is in the head of I think from
Brad.
Brad. It's in Brad's head.
And so that's somewhere, Extreme Divers or somebody like that has to have that
Yeah,
information.
well, I think we got it on a little USB drive when they did the cleaning. I think they gave us that when they went through and cleaned the internet pipes. I think we got something in there, but it's probably.
And our Marge Riley indicated they surveyed.
There's something on a USB, if you find a USB.
Well, I got the USB, I just haven't looked at it.
I love doing this research.
He is if you don't know, he is a detailed person and he's a GIS nerd. That's what it's like.
Utility ran their facility mapping system for years, so there's all kinds of stuff.
Okay, next topic. This is another that came through as a request from Patty Zimmerman. And she wanted to make sure we all knew. I'll send this out to everyone. This is a Health and Preserve Advisory Council newsletter, or to all the residents, communications probably better than newsletter. To all the Pelican Preserve residents, they're going to do these on an ongoing basis. This one here is reflection on the Ponds Group, and it's on the contract negotiation that was done and how that saved us $160 million over $160,000.
I was gonna say.
Negotiated that contract.
Saved us $160,000. And the other thing is quoted as, Jim Latham is quoted in here. Okay, and he led the effort of renegotiation of the contracts, and Hal was a part of that, and Stephanie was a part of that, and Jay was a part of that, and Al Slicker was a part of that. And we already talked about that. October 1st was the first day of all the new things being taken over by Superior. So there are only maintenance contract that we have right now going forward.
So that was concurrent with the new budget.
Yep, it's exactly.
These one fixes the ticketing system, right? So just to be clear.
Yep. Oh, yes. Do you want to go to the August financial?
Yes, this is the August financial.
Okay.
Not with, Andy, you want to go back and. It's a
We-
second item. You have a quorum now?
Yes,
Yeah,
we do have a quorum.
The budget is here. This is, as close to, final as we're going to get from, this is where we're at from last year when we ended the budget year. You see there $73,000 over budget. Ed and Bob give me a hard time about that every day. But the truth of it is we had transferred $200,000 to board PPAC voted to give us an extra $200,000 to do 2 ponds versus 1 last year. But the budget is still 804, did not do a transfer of that 200K over to. So, I mean, this is not that if we were totally out of control, we had $200,000 coming. No, the board voted on, the board minus, Marty voted to do, 2 ponds versus, 1.
The money that we transferred earlier actually went in the forward, probably to addition to the budget.
Okay.
And so you're.
Okay, $20,000 would be carryover with 7.
You'll now have about 20,000 carry forward in the next.
Okay, okay. Yeah, because it doesn't look like it on this chart, but that's what occurred.
Yeah, I guess this is a new one, but the 97 is a carry forward.
Yep.
That's where the transfer loading carry forward. Right. So.
The next thing on the agenda here. Okay, they are tracking now attendance in the meetings, all, board meetings, whether they're subcommittees or PPAC or, board of supervisors too. And, you know, I know the reasons behind both of the individuals listed here, by Mike and Richard. I know why they weren't able to be there. I don't want to discuss those reasons with this general population. I thought it was weird last time when someone was talking about their dad or father-in-law or something dying. I know you didn't ask for that justification, but it came up and then I just sort of cringe.
You just have to say due to extraordinary circumstances.
But all I want to do is, if we need to vote on this, I recommend, I will make the motion, I'll get a second, but I recommend that Mike and Richard are on the board, okay, on the subcommittee. And unless they do not want to be on the subcommittee, we will continue forward with it. Mike and I have already talked, I've not talked with you, but I sent both notes to say, do you want to still be on the subcommittee? So I would like a recommendation that unless they do not want to be on the subcommittee, that they continue to be on the subcommittee, and we have an exception to rule that is in the, what do you call it, the guidance of the boards, or what's the formal name?
The resolution.
The resolution where the boards were put in place. Right.
I've got a question. Why are we tracking?
It's a requirement. It was in the resolution. It was in the, yes, required.
And I believe it's state.
No, it is our resolution.
It's part of the resolution.
By track and volunteer time.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is, we've really never had an issue where we weren't able to vote on something because we're always able to have a quorum. We've been able to manage quorums. And I think the one time we didn't have a quorum, one meeting, there was nothing to vote on, actually.
Well, we transitioned from an work group, so. So the quorums.
It's in the resolution, so when they were created, Georgia tracks that. That's the only reason. Go ahead.
So that, yes, you made the motion.
Yeah, I need a second. Anyone seconds that? Vote. They want to approve, we have first. If you look or not.
Well, wouldn't I have to abstain? And
No.
Well, if we have 2 abstains, he would have, you do not have to.
I don't think you can abstain.
Okay, well, I mean,
is
it
about-
directly
yeah,
affects me,
that's-
so there's a conflict of interest.
Board votes.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right. You okay?
fine.
Okay. Are you okay now?
Yes, yes. Okay.
Okay. Again, I will come, I have a few things here to cover, that I just wanted everyone to know, a few smaller deals. I'll call it a chairman update for some of the things that I've already presented on Thursday of last week, to PPAC. Go through a few of them, and then I'm going to turn them over to Stephanie, who's going to do a discussion on the standards. Okay? A few things that have, just so you know, I also presented these things at the president's HOA, COA group, on Thursday, and so I presented this twice. There was 3 trees in product in the conservation area that we took out. The persons came forward from a safety standpoint. They were afraid it was going to fall on their lanai. We took out, I think there's 3, it might have been 4 trees that were taken out that had to be topped. And the whatever the trees had to be removed that were topped. All the debris from that, the logs, all had to be pulled out. That was a change in Florida, South Florida water management, that requirement, to get the things out of the conservation area. Before it used to be when they fell, you left them there in the conservation area, and they have changed the thing because of, they believe it's a fire hazard, to leave a lot of that in there. So it doubled our cost per tree to take a tree out. But, I mean, that's a standard. So that's just the way it is. So that's one thing. Yes.
Trees that he could sell. If we took out back when I was here.
Yeah.
I believe, still gonna leave where you can pull it.
Right? And right then, there's
Where are they being left in the conservation area?
yeah, I mean, well, now they're being pulled out. The ones in Casella were dropped like a year ago.
Oh, no, 10 years.
Yeah, we're not pulling anything out of the conservation.
Okay.
Can we, the
There would be
ones
a
that we're
lot to
pulling
pull
out,
out.
can we put them in the ponds?
Right now, I think
It's nice habitat for the fish.
yeah, it's part of the contract we have to cut the tree, top them, is to remove the debris. I wasn't out there. I don't know if they just stacked them up on the street because, they come by and remove that stuff. I know after hurricanes, we just stacked them up on the street, but I think that's because of the special conditions that were in place because of the hurricane. But I believe they had to put them on the truck and tuck. I don't know where they took them. Tree contract, so. Yeah. Okay. The other thing is we're in the process of doing the restoration of CA08, which is the conservation area there by the pump house. Because the contractor had Airscape, say the name, had parked some truck, vehicles, trailers, tractors and stuff in there and killed some of the, brush,
Native.
whatever you want to call it.
Natives.
Native species, yes. So we have a contract with Superior to be able to restore that, and Stephanie's on me all the time to get that done.
Is it next week? Thing?
Yeah, that's my question. Is Ameriscape paying for that?
I don't know, I think Mark's got that in his, it's not much, but, some of it was that, and some of it was really, it just died. If you go back there and look at it, Richard, it's pretty much no, canopy over it,
Hmm.
and those things,
That's
you
okay.
plant something that's 1 foot, 1 foot tall, it will die. Because there's, especially during dry season.
Yeah.
The contract we have now that Stephanie recommended to Andy is that we water it for, I forget how long it was, but a certain length of time in a contract that they're going to water it. But right now, we're paying for it out of the conservation budget. The only other thing is, the back, if you all notice, notice day one, that the fountains up front, the right fountain is not working. There's no water in the fountain. It had some problem with the backflow valve and a plumber has come in and now there's a problem with the valve, the city valve, box in there, the valve is problem with the valve. So there's no water into that fountain, which is why that's not working. We got the backflow valve and some of the plumbing around that fixed last week, or this week, but we have to now go to the city and get them to come in to work on the valve box to make sure that valve is. It's not like that. Okay, and the only other thing I had that I presented for PPAC was the fact that the task authorization has been issued to, Subcommittee to get the process started.
The plan is still being addressed.
But,
It's
yes,
still-
Yes.
and
Yeah.
and Stephanie, before you go into stuff that you've uncovered here on standards. You can talk a little bit about your thoughts about the lowering of the weirs, because that has come up by a couple people. Because last year we lowered the weirs for all the ponds that were going to be restored. And there was a lot of people that were very frustrated with that. And so we just, if we're going to do it again, we need to go and communicate with the
Yeah,
residents. That's all I would say.
and that's dependent on what ponds are being done and if the contractor requests that type of thing to be done. We had so many ponds going on in Gateway last year that we had to lower the weirs to get it low enough for them. So it's totally dependent on that.
And then it would cost about $40,000 a pond. To lower, it would cost us 40,000 for 43 too, if the pond level was not lower.
Yeah, plug
Yeah, yeah, to plug it
it.
and pump it out. That's about a $43,000 or $40,000, 43, that'd be easier to remember, pond 43 and 43,000. $40,000 is what the estimate was for some of it.
How many ponds are affected by adjustable weirs? At this point in time?
Well, if you lower 100% of them are, because they're all interconnected.
All but about 13.
Well, to the flowway.
Yes,
All but about 13.
Yeah.
There's 13 ponds in Pelican that don't go.
Okay,
They go to windows. Everything else,
everything else goes to the flowway.
the here and in all.
And as we talk about the standards in both the dry and the wet season, is there a standard level for the ponds? I mean, if you're not going to be working on a pond, is there a standard level that you look to maintain?
God does. You can't control.
Well, no, I understand.
God.
No, I am too, but I mean, I understand if you're lowering the weirs and all the ponds are interconnected, I mean, the ponds got extremely low.
Yep.
And every time you change the water level in the ponds, it affects the habitat.
But Chris, when they get long, we've never added one.
No, I'm not looking to add
I've
one.
lived here long enough that I've seen flow rate
but the
Right.
thing is
drop.
I don't know about, is there,
I've destroyed it.
if it's a low level, all we can make sure is unless we're doing it on purpose, that
Right.
the weirs are at the highest level, right? That's number one. Number two, I know recently, because of the level of the ponds, we went from, it's way too low, people complaining about, to it's way too high. You know, and Stephanie did some stuff where she lowered the weirs, like about a half a foot or something like that, to lower the water level, just in case a big storm came through or something like. And Stephanie, I don't know if it's so many feet above or, high water mark or what you do to make that decision, but in your mind, you make that decision.
Ultimately, the decision is up to the district manager, so Chelsea would make that decision. We give input if we see a storm coming, hey, maybe you should lower it halfway and let some water out to prevent damage to property, which is the reason. Yeah, that's the only time we do adjust it. Otherwise, it is an act of God of the rains or nothing.
They do notify me when they do that, so, and because there is people out there that when the weir's lowered by an inch, they know. Then they see, I'm exaggerating a little, but they know when it comes down by a half a foot, they're saying, why is it weird?
Why is it down? Yeah.
Why is it down and stuff like that? So they notify us and I send that note. We've never did it to all telephones, the third manager need to do
I thought
that.
it was his
Or
fault.
talk to Patty Zimmerman, she's doing a great job of communication to be able to have that stuff. Because, you can communicate in a lot of different ways. And you can always use one more way to communicate to get the more feedback. Because it's, we do it at the president's meeting, we do that feedback, we do it within our group. But there's still a lot of people that don't get those messages.
The easiest way to tell is just look at the bridge going into
Yeah.
the cellar. That'll tell you everything you need to know.
Yes.
When you went to bid for it. Because, I mean, how do they communicate that? Because this is all going where into things. So I
Yeah.
mean, and if anybody can feel what happens, I would love to.
The whole watershed management.
Can't be done without permission.
When it comes to the weirs, if that's what you're talking about, the only time, if we lower our weirs internally, so all the ones in Pelican and then beyond toward Gateway, they don't need to be notified. But if we open the one west of I-75, which is our weir, that does flow out and they do need to be notified and they give the approval for that. So, yeah, absolutely.
I think the last time we had an issue with, where everyone thought we had to go and get approval beyond, ourselves.
Yeah.
That was found out that we really didn't need to go forward. So to lower those weirs. Before that, it was, you might have heard, we can't do anything with the weirs unless it's approved by, Florida Southwest.
And none of that applies to Route 38. That's totally.
Well, it didn't apply to the other two weirs either, because they're all within,
Right.
System, within the system.
As long as they don't open the last one, then.
yes, that's what,
Exactly.
because we're still putting the same amount of water downstream without lowering the last one. All right? Stephanie?
Well, I'm Stephanie McLean, stormwater specialist on the Gateway side. So pond standards, historically, Pelican Preserve has had a pond manual and I reviewed it, Paul has reviewed it. And then Gateway side has had a pond standard as well. Ours is very policy based. Yours was very best management practices based, which was great. So I worked with Peter Audette and we tried to put these two manuals together and make a comprehensive guide that all of us are working under the same standard. So we did update things such as maintenance, oversight. So some of that's included the regulatory requirements. We put that in here. So it's a guide that anybody can look at and they understand why we do things, who does things, the policy of littorals, all that type of stuff. And we want to make it equal on the Gateway side and the Pelican side. So new things, I don't know if it's up there, but some new, I don't know if you guys have reviewed it or looked at it, but I encourage you to look through it. New things for you guys on your end would be looking over our NPDES permit and DO compliance. We included that in this permit, in this policy. The maintenance of littorals. I pulled information from our contracts. So our contractors have to keep nuisance and exotics under 5%. Now that's in the policy. It's on your side and on our side. Our contracts for aeration, fountains, wetlands, and ponds, we already have made those very uniform. So now it's incorporated in the pond standards as well. But other things we included that you guys didn't have listed yet was water quality testing. There's places in Pelican Preserve that we test and we do have to report those for our permit compliance. So that's included. Wildlife management protocol, what we do if there's a nuisance alligator. What do you do about that? Well, now we have a policy of we contact our licensed trapper, things like that. We included things about the weirs, when we will lower them, how we do that. And then we have like a glossary. So if a resident looked at it and they don't know what a water basin is, there's a description of it there. So from you guys, I encourage you again, look over it, see what you think, but there are some things we want your direction on moving forward. One of the biggest issues that there's a bit of a divide in is littorals and whether do we want to see littorals everywhere? If a DO is silent about littorals, are we still planting? There is a section here about littoral removal. So on the Gateway side, if a resident asks to get their littorals removed behind their home, we will go out, inspect the area. If there's no washouts or any issues with water quality in that pond, it'll get approved and we'll spray it out one time per year. I know for your side, historically, only members of your fishing club are allowed to get their littorals removed. So we want to make this uniform.
There's a certain number of feet that should be in there.
Yeah, we have adopted a policy, and to the best of my knowledge, we no longer require people to be a member of the fishing club because the fishing club is, oh, I want to be in the fishing club. Do you fish? Well, yeah, sometimes.
There you
So it just becomes, here, I'm in the fishing club. The policy that I put forth, to the best of my knowledge, that has been adopted
Yeah.
is if you want littorals removed, we will remove no more than 40% of whatever your frontage is on the pond. And that 40% must be divided equally. So if you've got 40 feet of frontage, you cannot have the littorals removed between you and your neighbor. So it would be 10 feet in, you remove 10 feet. You've got another barrier of 10 feet. You can remove 10 feet more. And then that last 10 feet that borders your next door neighbor cannot be removed. So it leaves you with two little 10-foot sections. My opinion has always been, if you're a fisherman and you can't manage to get a fish within that 10-foot, then sell your equipment, sell your rods and reels.
So on the. oh,
And
go ahead.
I'm sorry, in the past, it has been the homeowner would contact me because I was the primary contact. I would then turn that contact information over to Dr. Audette. Where it went from there, I do not know. I've been talking with Jim Latham, and he has provided me with the contact information of our new, Superior Pond Maintenance Contractor. What I'm not clear on is whether I'm to contact them or if I'm still to send it to either Jim or Peter and put it on down the line. I don't mind being the contact person to the contractor, because the more people you add in that step, the more likely it is the ball's going to get dropped somewhere, and then I'm getting another call from the homeowner. The only other thing in the policy is that we will not send the contractor out on as needed basis. When he comes to do maintenance on that pond, if there's a request for littoral removal, they will do it at that point in time, but not until. So we don't want to incur the cost of the contractor coming out saying, well, I came out to do littoral.
And we don't remove the dead stuff.
No.
Standard, I included a littoral removal form. So, and we do this, we didn't really do this on the gateway side either. It wasn't a good system. So I created a form that so here it is. If a property owner wants their littorals removed, they fill out the form, they submit it to Gateway, staff reviews it, and then they will get a response back. But then this is a way we can keep record of who requested it. Is it only one? And then it has, if you scroll down a little bit, some of the requirements is we will check it within 30 days. They're only going to come out at, like you said, not as a regular thing, but when they're already doing their maintenance, they'll come out again. That they can't remove it themselves, things like that. So they're aware of the policy behind it.
How do you keep
One thing for just back. Reason there's two sets. Is that in Pelican, we had a more stringent control laws, like aeration, like littorals, things like that. At the time, Gateway couldn't afford it, didn't want to do it, whatever you want to say. So that's why they have a different, theirs is official, ours is not. So now we're trying to get to the point where we're married together and there's one standard for all of it.
The only thing about that though is how do you approve or not approve, or they all approve, which means everyone could remove the littorals with a thing like this. How do you manage that? Who makes that decision that it's okay for one customer, for one homeowner? It's okay to do it, to remove, they got that one, and you remove it, and the one next door, you say no to. Is there any way that you, or is it just rubber stamped approved
Yeah,
for the most part?
As far as it's been historically and how it's being proposed now, it would be up to staff discretion. And the things you look for is if there's already a requirement that there has to be littorals there based on the DO and things like that, we're not going to approve it. So we're looking for that. looking for washouts and then looking for water quality. Those are the big things we look at. Otherwise,
Have we ever denied anybody here, Rich?
yes. If,
Okay,
oh,
you-
here,
I-
sorry.
I don't know because I've passed it on to Dr. Liddell. I don't know anyone who's come, well, there's been some people who come back and said, hey, I asked for my littorals to be removed.
Yeah.
And I've explained the policy to them, and I've also explained that, you know, the littorals, we want at least a foot from the bank at the high water mark out. To avoid bank erosion. Right.
There are people who are already trained that littorals are done.
The only other question I would have is, number one, will this form be available on the Pelican website under documents and forms? And if it is, are we going to communicate this to the residents through a letter from Gateway saying we have a new policy so
Absolutely.
that they know? I mean, they can still contact me because there's a lot of people who don't read anything that comes from Gateway. I'm just saying, you know, it's kind of like reading something that comes from the government. We don't read it, we throw it away.
Any chance that we could get that form uploaded and see if it fits? Or some semblance of that, so that.
Maybe.
In the what thing?
One thing you might do is, if the resident put in a request to see for fixed, with all, the staff could set
Submit,
that
yeah.
Right.
form.
Something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Then you'll keep your track.
That
Yeah.
way you. After you
Exactly.
receive the fix, then you got the form, the period on.
Yeah,
My biggest concern about this is the more people that know
that is an option.
that it's an option, the more people that know it's going to be rubber stamped. That our electoral strategy goes in the wind. For Pelican
We're
Preserve,
better off not advertising.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
the impact is really gonna be more. Our residents are all used to how.
well, I don't know, they're used to it, but if they think there's a way to get rid of it, they'll use
But that requires them to read something.
it. No, but you understand what I'm saying is, our littoral, how about the percent of banks that must be in littorals? I mean, isn't there a standard from the state standpoint of a certain percent? I thought it was 40.
So some ponds do have that requirement. Some don't say anything about
Ours
it.
must not, because we don't have any.
If some are silent, then on Gateway side, we don't have any littorals there.
That's
And
what's right.
now, yes, if you guys want to push that along and give direction of, hey, let's plant littorals when, even if there's not a requirement, that's for you guys
Well,
to,
that's what we're doing now,
yeah.
Right, we
That's
need
what
your
we call
input.
it stuff.
right?
Yeah.
They didn't, so the whole purpose of updating the manual is that, because then if they say the DO says silent, doesn't matter what the DO says, the standards say you're gonna put it.
I regularly get questioned as to why can't I have my littorals removed? There's no littorals on the backside of pond, I think it's 47. You know, and I'm like, that's nature.
Some of the ponds, the littorals are, a lot of them just die.
They die.
And
Yeah.
they're being restored, but when you restore it, I mean, you're restoring with little plants and it takes years before anyone would recognize, but just say, I get that too.
Yeah. They want to know how come I can't have mine?
Okay. That, what I will say is the fact that, thank you for what you did. I want the members of the group, to look at the standard. And our interface was, I've asked Mike to do that. I think we even voted on it last time when he wasn't here. That's what you get when but you know, you're a good, you're a good detail person and you're a good person, to interface with Stephanie on that. And I'm sure Bob will throw his, opinion, you do review it, Bob, because you have a lot of knowledge on how we got to where we are right now. And, well, no, but you know what we have them going forward, what we need. So
When are you gonna pass, when are you gonna vote on this?
right now, oh,
Yeah.
Well, I will just add to Bob's comment about advertising it. I am happy to continue to be the first point of contact for anybody who wants littorals removed. And at that point, I will tell them, if you go to the Pelican website under documents and forms, you can find the document that you must fill out to send to Gateway. I'm not going to tell them it's going to be rubber stamped. Here's the document, fill it out, send it in.
but we need to make sure the document reflects what we like. we don't want the document to be the exact opposite of what we're trying to accomplish.
Right.
That's all.
Can standards say in Pelican, the pro forma is to contact whoever is designated for the bonds committee and a gateway it is stuff.
We could do that internally.
Do
once-
that in the-
Yeah, as part of our process, if we get any requests, you know, we could do that.
But that kind of like. That way nothing changes. This doesn't change us at all. It's trying to be a gateway up to the bonds.
So has this been sent out to everybody? Because I haven't gotten this.
It was attached to the agenda
It's
today.
the days agenda.
Yes.
It's an effort to consolidate.
That's correct.
I would like, I'm gonna make a recommendation that Stephanie is doing the lead from a gateway standpoint. And Mike Cossey will work with him from a Pelican Preserve standpoint to make sure whatever is in that document is something we can live with and does not change our direction on how we support our ponds.
And from my standpoint, since I am relatively new to, you know, all the ponds history, that I would like the input from everybody who has seen this as to what you think about it.
Because right now, probably no one on this side has nothing. I can say I have.
We'll read it, please.
Can I have a second on that? Okay. We have both? Okay. That's the last thing on the agenda, unless someone else has it. Yes,
I want to update everybody, the board, about the pond watch, water collection. Just
Okay.
Give you an update. I made, thanks to Stephanie, she made copies of the last month's results. And probably some of you aren't familiar with what we do every month, but there's two of us, myself and Michelle McIntyre.
Yeah.
Second Monday, these are the results from last month. So the second Monday of every month.
Okay, I'll get one out of here soon.
Second Monday of every month. We rotate, Michelle and I rotate monthly, and we go out to 3 ponds. There's pond 50, pond 70, and the flowway. And we take the water sample. We bring the water sample to the county over in Buckingham.
Pond watch.
Pond watch, yeah, and
Talk to Ernesto.
so, and they take a chemical results of the water. And consistently, Pelican Preserve, this everybody knows, consistently, according to Ernesto, who's in charge, consistently, we have probably the best results. In fact, he always compliments Bob, because Bob was, really got this going many years ago as far as. He still said, oh, Bob did a great job. So last month,
set it up.
Well, background.
Yeah.
You had the dump.
Yeah.
As residents, we were concerned, we get bad one. As simple as that. That's why. And the dump was given us great.
I think the water samples over too, so yeah, a lot of you are familiar, but that's one an update, because the results last month, there was no abnormalities, not normally, but any of the water samples, were great, good collection points. So our ponds, and we have a good health. Yeah.
Onward, carrying our drink.
Yeah. And that one pond, is it 57, the one that's closest to the dump?
Yes. Yeah, 50.
If, whatever, the one pond we do is the closest to the dump, so we can measure it.
Yeah.
And the other two are exit, I think, more exit points from our.
Flowway.
Yeah.
Flowway and over pond 2, pond 7.
Was that the one behind, the pool place over
Yeah,
there?
yeah, it's that side of it.
Yeah, but they're really basically our two exit points. So in case we do have some chemicals, downstream, they don't come back and blame us for contamination of the water. That's why we mainly do it. Protect yourself.
Gateway has had occasional issues. We have.
Okay. Yes,
Then just have a couple questions here. So we will work with Mr. Causey with the updating of the pond standards. Our next meetings is December.
Yeah.
And can we target that date for a final approval so that we can move the pond standards to P-PAC and then eventually get to the Board of Supervisors, maybe January at the earliest or the latest? So, I mean, is that realistic? I just want to make sure we're gaining some
I think
traction.
it's realistic as long as we read it and
Right.
get comments to,
Right.
to the group, to the two of them. If we don't read it, if the group here doesn't read it, then you won't have anything to go on.
Yeah,
It's our responsibility to read it and be able to give comments.
But this gives a good time.
Yeah, that's a good timeline.
we did work with Peter. Unfortunately, he had to, step down, but we'll definitely work with Mike,
Yep.
and get him up to speed. But I think in a couple of months, we should be able to have a
Yep.
pretty final draft for the ponds committee and then move to P-PAC and then eventually get to the board of supervisors. Does that sound reasonable? Is everybody
Yep.
comfortable with that?
I'm reading, I've done before, there was a lot of specs. And then, what are you doing with that? That's not policy.
So when I was putting it together, the way we look at it is this is gonna be the standard, the policy. The operating side of things that you guys do, if you want to have your own thing on the side, that's fine. You can be more stringent than what the standard is, but this is gonna be overall. So I know you guys do a lot with volunteers and stuff like that, so that's obviously not gonna be in our standard, but you guys can still have a working
Group.
But I was more concerned about like what bubbler boxes they used and the size of the piping and everything. Like have in there.
That wasn't in the,
That wasn't there for, but thank you, yes, because they're just now approaching aeration in Greater Gateway. It hasn't come before the board yet, but we're having a workshop in January. And we are going to standardize what we did as a template.
But what I was concerned is we got some legacy history in the operating manual. That I helped edit it.
yeah,
And I don't want to lose it if we are just gonna go to a policy procedure.
Yeah.
Could be an addendum.
It should,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it could be, that's why.
look over it because ours, like I said, ours was very policy and yours was best management practices and descriptions. So I did incorporate a lot of that. I tried not to make this a 30-page document, so I picked and chose certain things. So there is some history in the beginning and an intro and what are stormwater ponds and how this all started. So take a look at it. And if you want to include that,
Very important because we started at no greater than 100 feet
Yeah.
for aeration placement. I think we learned since you don't quite need it that way. And
with
we
new
had a variety-
technology and stuff, things have
and
changed.
we had a variety of pump sizes and now we pretty much standardize on a half horsepower. So those are the kind of things that can be added in there as addendum.
sure, that wasn't in your current one. So,
Well, then,
so if you want to include things, mention it now.
Okay,
lessons learned.
all right, all right, I'm gonna ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting. I got a meeting at 10 o'clock.
Oh.
That is a good question.
I
That
got
is a
a
good
hurry.
question. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Uh,
A second? Vote. All right, meeting is adjourned.
Here's my copy, but that's,
Oh.
and then I'll email it to you as well. You can